Part 1, Auto Cutoff. We have the overhead tank which provides water to all the rooms, kitchens and the external unit which is above the toilet and bathroom in the nearby plot. That's the overhead tank. The second reservoir we have is the sump, which is near the well, and the first reservoir is your well. This is the source of water for both the sump and also the overhead tank. To control the water levels in the overhead tank, the sump, and also to prevent dry running of the motors. Suppose the water in the well goes down, the motor should not switch on or the motor will burn out. To control all of these, we have installed two auto cutoff units. These units will show if the power is on, whether the tank is full, whether the corresponding sump is empty, and whether the motor is on or not. The A unit controls the motor which is placed in the sump. The B unit controls the motor which is placed in the well. The B unit is also controlling the aerator for one single operation. That is, once the water goes below a certain level, both the aerator and the main pump will stop working. This is to prevent the burnout of both of these pumps and also to extend their life period and to bring down the maintenance from 1 month to 3 months. The prerequisite is that every 3 months all of these units have to be cleaned. The motors in the sump and the well has to be taken out and maintained. This is preventive maintenance. The power units have to be checked. The auto cutoff units A and B have to be checked if they are operational, whether the floats connected to both these units are operational. This is the maintenance that is required once in every 3 months. How the system operates is the overhead tank. Let us consider all these 3 units. All of them have 2 levels, the high and the low. Now when the overhead tank water is in the high point, nothing happens. Everything is switched off and nothing is operational now. But once we start consuming the water, the level of the water from here starts going down. And once it reaches the lower limit, immediately this triggers via system A the motor which has been placed in the sump. And this motor, once it is triggered, will start filling the overhead tank. It will keep filling the tank until the water level reaches the high point. Once it reaches the high point, this motor will automatically be cut off by this unit. Because we cannot go into the tank every time and check, from the unit itself we can understand what is happening to both these tanks. There are 4 indicators given, which is power on, tank full, sump empty and motor on. This has to be checked on a weekly basis or daily basis. You don't have to do much. You just have to open the door and just see what are the lighting which you see in this one and this one. And based on that, you will know the status of water in all the 3 reservoirs. Let me explain how. This power on will always be on if this unit is on auto mode. The unit has 3 modes: auto, off and manual. So if this power is on, that means that this unit is powered on and we are on automatic. When we go to off, we cannot switch on the motors at all. It's completely cut off. If you go to manual, the system will no longer worry about your float levels. You can continue using the motors via the separate switches or the MCBs for each of these. If you throw this unit on manual, that means the automatic system is removed and you can control the M1 and M2 using their normal switches. If this is an off, the switches also will not operate, everything will be cut off. These are the 3 stages of this unit. The indicators are power on, tank full, sump empty and motor on. Now, if this power is on, that means we are on automatic. Once the water level reaches the high point here, it will show tank full. Now, if the tank starts to get empty, that means this tank full switch will go off. The sump empty will be off and motor will also be off. But once it reaches this point, at this point, power on will be on, your motor will also switch on. So until the water reaches here, this light will be on. When this continues to happen, this will keep going on. We'll consume water, water will come down, motor will switch on, it will go up, and once the tank is full, it will switch off. So general service, your power on will be on, either your tank full will be on or your motor on will be on. If the tank full is off, that means the tank is not full, only a little amount of water is there. But if the motor is not running, that means the water level is between the high and low point. If the tank full is off and your motor is on, that means it has reached the lower point and the water is starting to fill up. We can continue using the overhead tank in any of these conditions. Now, as we keep filling water from the sump to the overhead tank, at a certain point, the water in the sump will become empty. That is, in this tank, the water would have reached the lower limit. Once this reaches the lower limit, the sump empty switch will come on and this motor will no longer function. This we have added so that the motor burnout will not happen. Now, this is what this unit does. When this sump is in the higher limit, everything is good. But once it reaches the lower limit, this motor will switch on and it will start filling the whole tank. Once it reaches the high point, this pump will automatically switch off. Incidentally, plumbing wise, there is a bypass given. We can always go to manual, switch on this bypass and then fill the overhead tank directly from the well. This you can do during sump maintenance or during any situation where you're not able to use the sump. Now, as far as the well is concerned, there we have both a motor and an aerator. Once the water in the well reaches the lower limit, both of these motors will be switched off. They will not switch on during very dry season. And this can be seen here as sump empty. When you have sump empty, that means the well is empty and you might have to get water from a tanker and either fill it here or put it in the sump. Once the water level reaches the prescribed height, automatically it will start filling the overhead tank and everything will continue. So that is how the whole system has been designed. This way, the overhead tank will always be full. Once the sump comes to the lower point, the well will automatically top it up. Instead of having one single resource, now we have split it into two, whereby we have created a complete reservoir here. In case the water in the well is not available, we can continue using the sump, and only after this water is used, you'll get the buffer time to either refill the well or the sump. Either way, this way we have managed to extend the life of the motors and also make sure that all the occupants in every single water facility continues running uninterrupted. The pumps are very powerful, so even if all the taps are on, the tank will continuously be filled. The external tank which we have, this fills under pressure only. It does not need any specific pump or motor or anything because it's directly connected to the overhead tank, which is higher than all the other reservoirs. You need to fit a ball valve here and make sure that none of the taps are left open. If they open, this will drain, the sump will also drain, and the well water will also be gone. So it will be a major loss of water resource. So kindly make sure that all the taps and all the outlets are closed. And in case of any bypass that has been used, make sure that it is brought back to normal. Thank you.